Can you make a male babysitter pay child support? I'm a single mom going through college with my sister. A couple of weeks ago, I asked my neighbor, a nice guy, if he could watch the kid for 2 hours while I went to class and my sister wasn't home, and he agreed. If he babysits and doesn't accept pay, can I sue him for child support because he took on a fatherly role? I'm sure I can convince a court that he accepted a fatherly role, which is how who owes child support is determined in my state. Additional details. Edit. The real dad died in a car accident almost 7 years ago. This is gross. This is... I just hate this. No, don't sue your neighbor for child support because he agreed to look after your kids for 2 hours. He did a nice thing for you. He didn't have to do that. And you're like, wonder if I can rinse this guy. Don't do that. Don't do that. Special thank you to CJ, McPuffin, Els, Kaori Ann Mori, and Holly Miller for supporting the channel and supporting my content. Thank you so much, guys. How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to another subreddit video. Forgive the lack of face paint today. It is Flying Ant Day, which means that my window is currently closed, or this room will fill with flying ants, which means I am roasting to death right now. I'm probably gonna get quite sweaty in this video, and I just didn't want to have face paint just running all over the place, so no face paint today. We're returning back to r/iamatotalpieceofsh because it's been over a month since the last one, which means I gotta get back and do it because these are the only videos that get views. It would be funny if it weren't so sad. Let's get into it, shall we? Woman accused of letting God take the wheel before Ohio car crash. A vehicle runs through an intersection in front of another car just before midnight on June 15th in Beechwood, Ohio. In this image from traffic cam video. Wow. Why? What possible reason does anyone have for doing this? It's so stupid. That's so stupid. She's endangering her own life. She's endangering the lives of people around her. And you know who wouldn't have told her to do this? Jesus or God. They'd be like, hey, you're driving, maybe you just keep your hands on the steering wheel because you should be responsible while doing these things. I'm just saying. It's hard staying sober because you're not meant to be sober. You're meant to keep being addicted. What do you mean? I mean, you're an addict because that's what nature had planned for you. That is your place. The fact you're struggling is to stay sober is because you're going against your nature. Drugs literally ruined my life. Why would I want to stay like that? Fuck off. Alright, but when you relapse, don't say I didn't warn you. Asshole. So the context of this was, I think they posted about being sober, being an ex-addict, and this is the message they got from someone. I have utmost respect from people who were addicts and are able to go sober because it's really hard. It's really rough. People that are able to do it, you've got a lot of willpower. You've probably got more willpower than I do. I think it's a lot easier to not do something in the first place than it is to break away from doing it, right? So I haven't done that, and I'm not sure I would be able to go sober if I did. So these people have more willpower than me. Keep being sober, keep at it, because you're fixing your own life, and that's more than a lot of people do. Wholesome moment. Who the hell wants to sleep with someone who's disabled? I mean, I have no problem finding people willing to sleep with me. You got that weird hand thing? And dudes are lining up? My fellow kings are down bad. Disabled people are still people. They're still humans, they still have human desires, and ultimately, sleeping with someone isn't entirely founded on just physical attraction. Sure, it plays a part in that, but there are attractive disabled people, and there are disabled people with great personalities. So if a person wants to sleep with them because they have a great personality or because they're attractive, I don't see how being disabled is gonna play a huge part in that fact. Just, you know, my opinion, I guess. I wouldn't have a problem sleeping with someone who's disabled. Whatever. That's fine. It doesn't make a difference, really. At the end of the day, they're still a human being. They just don't have as much control over their body as other people. So we got a video of a big old truck that's just gonna dump loads and loads of plastic waste straight into the Amazon River. Just straight into the Amazon River. And that's just... it's just despicable. It's despicable that this is still happening, that stuff like this is still ongoing, considering the world is literally ending, the ocean is on fire, half the planet catches fire every 5 minutes, the friggin' Amazon caught fire, and people are still like, I'm just gonna dump all of my waste into the Amazon River. And someone's filming it. Someone's filming it like they're proud of this. Like I don't know if the person's filming it to raise awareness of the issue, or if they're filming it because they're proud of it. Because if you really had a problem with this to the point where you'd want to get the information out about it, you probably wouldn't be one of the people doing it, right? Just saw this on Snapchat. Stay safe tomorrow, guys. These N-words have lost us the Euros. Monday, 12th July is Punish a N-word Day. 5 points, spit on one. 10 points, punch one. 25 points, steal their clothes. 50 points, drive into one. 75, wow. 100 points, break into their house. And 500 points, lynch them. Who makes a post like this? So this is the first football post that's in this video. It won't be the last. How do people care about a football game this much? I don't think they do. I don't think this person actually cares this much about a football game. I think it's just a veiled, it's them attempting to veil how racist they are, right? They're clearly very racist, and they're trying to disguise that under the guise of, I'm a really big football supporter. I don't get people that get violent over football. Did you know, in the UK, when England loses a football match, domestic abuse rates increase by 48%? How does football do this to people? How do people go, England lost a football match, I must beat my wife now? What? I don't get it. I don't get how football turns you into a racist or an abuser or someone who's violent or any of that. It's a bunch of rich dudes chasing a ball around a pitch. I don't know how people get violent over that. If you enjoy watching football, great, but how do you get violent over that? Honestly, and it's not even just England. This is like a global issue, and it just blows my mind. I just don't get it. Now, the context of this one, to anyone who hasn't been keeping up with the news, is there's been a whole lot of looting, like mass looting in South Africa. And if you thought that the police in South Africa were gonna go through this without doing some looting themselves, then you would be mistaken. That's right, corrupt policing isn't just an American problem. Corrupt police are everywhere. So yeah, the police were in on the looting as well. Am I surprised? Not really. It's kind of insane. Honestly, the level this has been happening at. I saw a video today of like a South African supermarket that was completely trashed, all the shops robbed, apart from a bookshop was just left completely untouched, because obviously the kind of people that are looting these supermarkets don't read, and I'm not surprised at that fact, really. Attention all Ihop employees, there is a store meeting Monday at 2 p.m. Everyone is to be in attendance. You will not receive your paycheck until the meeting is over. If you choose not to attend the meeting, then consider yourself off the schedule. There are too many issues that need to be addressed, and every single person in this building needs to hear the issues and how and what we will be doing to solve them. This is not a game. Show up or you will not be on the schedule. And they wonder why people can't find employees for their trashy companies. You have scheduled a meeting to talk about all of the many issues in your building, and your response to people not turning up to this meeting is to fire them? So what? Everybody else then has to pick up the slack because you just fired half your employees? You're not going to be able to replace them, so everyone else has to suffer, and your issues aren't going to be solved. Managers, how do people like this end up in roles like this? They're clearly not good at it. They're not. A Round Lake man who exposed himself and took an upskirt video of a child at McHenry store has been sentenced to 16 days in jail. 16 days. I'm gonna let that sink in for a second. 16 days for exposing himself and taking upskirt videos of a child. 16 days. Good job, the American justice system. Real justice. City of Toledo takes cancer-stricken firefighters to court over workers' complaints. I'm going to re-describe what went on with this post because I describe it terribly in the video and I feel like it needs a better description than what I gave it. So basically, firefighters have a workers' compensation. Essentially, if they get cancer because they are a firefighter, or if they get cancer while they're a firefighter, it's assumed that because they were a firefighter, that's what caused it, because of all of the chemicals and smoke and inhalation and dangerous stuff that comes into being a firefighter. This is kind of a normal thing, and it's part of the job that they get compensation for that. Now, Toledo, forgive my pronunciation, I think that's how it's said, is trying to remove that workers' compensation. They're trying to completely eliminate giving workers compensation for contracting cancer while on the job. Great way of thanking the people that are serving your state and putting out all your house fires. Nice one. Why do I lose so much faith in humanity so often? Why do I make these videos? What is my goal here? Am I making the world a better place? I don't think so. I'm gonna move on. I can't read the subtitles, obviously, so I'm going off the context that was given on the actual Reddit post. If anyone speaks the language, I can't remember where it was. Maybe German. Over 100, I think it just said there are 100, maybe 150 graves have been vandalized and trashed, including child graves. Who does that? Honestly, who does that? Why? What kind of person is like, oh, you know what I'm gonna do today? I'm gonna go and trash 150 graves. If you speak the language that's in this video, in the description down below, translate some of it, maybe, just context, I guess. You don't have to translate all of it. Let us know what they're kind of talking about. Clearly very upset over the fact that people they cared about have had their graves trashed. Yeah, I'm gonna move on from that one. I think that it's just like, that makes me really angry. Who of all the things to vandalize, a grave? Really? A whole graveyard? What do you gain from that? What satisfaction is there in that? Who does that? What kind of person do you have to be? What is wrong in your head that you go, I'm gonna go trash 150 graves? I don't understand. I don't understand. There has been a drone observed in the vicinity of Becker Lake wildfire. This compromises suppression efforts and halts air operations. This type of activity is extremely dangerous and poses a significant safety risk to personnel, especially when low-flying firefighting aircraft are present. If a drone collides with firefighting aircraft, the consequences could be deadly. Anyone caught operating a drone that interferes with fire control could be fined up to $100,000 or jailed for up to 1 year, or both. Flying a drone around a wildfire is so stupid on so many levels. Like, yeah, you're disrupting the efforts of putting out the fire. You're making it harder to stop a wildfire, whether deliberately or not deliberately, and you're putting your drone at risk so that you have some cool fire footage that you can put on the internet and be like, I got some drone shots of a forest, so that everybody knows that you're an absolute idiot. By the way, that post was really hard to read. That was a tongue twister in there. Extremely dangerous and poses a significant safety risk to personnel. It's hard, especially when low-flying firefighting aircraft. It's really hard to read. Woman who falsely accused 15 men of rape jailed for 10 years. 10 years for for ruining 15 people's lives. She ruined 15 men's lives, and she was jailed for 10 years. Sometimes I feel like people are really not given the punishments for the actions that they committed, and we're learning that in this video. What's worse is that none of these people will actually come out of this reformed. They don't reform. They just keep people in a box for a few years, surrounded by other criminals who then teach them how to be worse criminals. There's no reform there. Unlike, you know, so many other European and Scandinavian countries that actually do reform their criminals, and the reoffension rates reflects that. However, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be sending people to jail for an adequate amount of time for the crime they committed, like, for example, ruining 15 men's lives. And the final post. 9-year-old Danish boy forced to flee as his father was punched in the stomach by England fans after the Euro 2020 semi-final. Football fans, man. Why? Why'd they do this? What do you gain from this? What do you gain from having a fight over a football match? You aren't playing in the match. You are not a player in this match. You have no impact on the success or failure of this match. You are simply supporting other people who are playing for you, and your response to that is to get violent. Are you okay in the head? I don't think so, and so many people clearly seem to not be. I just don't get it. I just don't. I can say there are people that enjoy lots of sports. I enjoy tennis, you know, Wimbledon was pretty great. There are loads of really good sports, and football, for some people, is a really good sport, okay? I'm not disregarding that. However, do you see people getting this violent over tennis? I don't think so. That's where I'm gonna end the video, guys. I hope you've enjoyed. If you want to support me in making more content like this, I have a Patreon in the description below, or equally, you can click that join button to join the channel. It helps a lot more than you might realize. However, I'm going to keep making content regardless, so by no means should you feel like you have to. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.